Okay, let's get down to business and talk about autistic burnout. Well, I think we should probably start with autistic burnout versus just standard regular burnout that a neurotypical person might feel from time to time. So, what is autistic burnout? You know, in short, it's actually a pretty tricky question to answer. Even if we think about the question I posed, what's the difference between autistic burnout and burnout a neurotypical person might experience? It's hard to define. And the reason is because you'll agree, everyone, be that autistic or not autistic, experiences, processes, deals with, handles stresses differently. The only thing I can really say that can differentiate it, as a neurotypical person, you can go through levels of burnout. For an autistic person, there is only one level of autistic burnout, and that's intense. Okay, so it manifests as an intense physical or an intense mental or both, an intense exhaustion. Also, with autistic burnout, frequency varies. For some autistic people, they may experience autistic burnout daily, weekly, monthly, or maybe only a couple times a year. So, for example, an autistic person who also has other comorbidities or experiences other chronic conditions may experience autistic burnout on a daily basis. While an autistic person who only experiences stresses from time to time, as in not every day, may only experience autistic burnout as a result of experiencing those stresses from time to time. I want to delve into the signs and causes of autistic burnout now. How does it manifest? Clearly, it's very different from one autistic person to another, how the signs and the causes manifest to create autistic burnout. But let's discuss it at a general level first. The bottom line is autistic burnout manifests differently for every autistic person. I mean, we've kind of established that. But I guess the one common feature is a complete loss of motivation. Now, this loss of motivation includes even a loss of will or motivation to do the things you actually love to do. Me personally, I find trying to do too much, which by the way, I feel is my natural state. Regardless, trying to do too much, I feel, has always led me to a period of autistic burnout. For me, autistic burnout feels like I've just become so overwhelmed by the world around me that I've literally shut down. I feel like my brain has just shut down because the world has just become too much. And in addition to my brain shutting down, I also feel like an autistic burnout manifests in a loss of executive function. Now, for me, it means self-care. The things that are important for someone to do for themselves, I just don't do. It all stops. The executive function no longer functions at any level, and therefore things are neglected. I don't worry about meals or feel hungry. I don't shower. I don't do the things you'd expect someone to do because, well, it's your body and you've got to take care of it. You know, I might forget to drink all day. No eating, no drinking, no showering. I only go to the toilet when I absolutely have to. I just don't want to contribute to my own care. It's a complete shutdown. In many ways, it's like a freeze response. And why this is tricky and super important for not only autistic people, but people who have an autistic person in their life to understand. In my opinion, it's a lack of self-care. It's a lack of eating well, of caring for your body, of exercising, of resting, of enjoying life. It's a lack of those things that I feel actually causes autistic burnout. So this shows how tricky it is to not only gauge, but avoid. An autistic person who is experiencing more meltdowns or more shutdowns than normal, and you as an autistic person may experience this and you can kind of acknowledge that's happening, or you may be a parent, carer, partner, family member of an autistic person and you may think, well, they're really having a lot of meltdowns recently. This is a clear sign of autistic burnout. I feel as I get older, I might be having more periods of autistic burnout, but I also feel like as you get older, you have more stresses, I think. In my instance, at least, you have more responsibilities. There are more people in your life you're responsible for and you care for. That's good, of course, but it adds layers of stresses. It adds layers of responsibilities. Most importantly, It adds layers of expectations. Also, as you get older as an autistic person, you need more time to regulate yourself to avert autistic burnout. But of course you get less, right? You get less alone time, less quiet time to do that type of regulation because there's more stresses, more expectations, more demands in your life. Again, that's not a bad thing. That's just a fact. Other signs and causes of autistic burnout, changes to your life or daily routine, they stack up real quick. Now, this is as important for autistic kids as it is for autistic adults. Again, routine change, things changing in day-to-day life, it's gonna happen. But you have to acknowledge for the autistic person in your life, it has a greater impact. So it's important to monitor. Has there been an increase in changes to daily life or routine? Another thing I experienced during a period of autistic burnout is a massive decrease in communication. Minimal communication. I'm talking grunts, sounds. Clear sign of autistic burnout. The way I look at it as well is, well, I don't want to talk to people at the moment, even if they're my own family or friends, because it was talking to people that led to this burnout in the first place. Because remember, autistic people for the most part are forced to communicate as a neurotypical person in a neurotypical style to make a neurotypical person feel comfortable. And autistic burnout can have a significant impact on your health. Me personally, I can go through long periods of exhaustion, periods where I simply do not have the energy to really engage in anything. Memory definitely suffers during autistic burnout. I can tell you, I almost never remember anything someone's told me to do, something I've been asked to do, or even something that I want to do. I just forget about it. I just don't remember it. It just in and out. In fact, I don't know if I even ever heard it. A lot of times I feel myself saying, I don't remember that conversation. Really? You asked me to do that. And the big one, which I think is really important for people who have autistic people in their life to understand, is you can no longer mask when you are feeling autistic burnout, because we know that it's intense, okay? There's no more ability, energy, motivation, will to mask your autistic self from the outside world. And you can fall into the trap again as someone who has an autistic person in your life of saying things like, wow, they're way more autistic than they usually are today. Oh wow, she's a bit more autistic than usual, huh? Okay, so you're only autistic or you're not. You can't be a little bit or more autistic than normal. You're just autistic. But of course you're masking. This is actually a window into how hard it is to be an autistic person in a neurotypical world. Our day-to-day life is based on masking, camouflaging, suppressing our very essence, suppressing who we are as people to fit into a neurotypical world and really to make neurotypical people feel comfortable. So yes, of course, we are going to come across more autistic than usual, but of course that's ridiculous. We're coming across as our true selves because we no longer have the ability to pretend to be someone we are not. And that's a bad thing? So we've talked about autistic burnout and we've discussed the signs and the causes of autistic burnout, but now I think most importantly, let's chat about strategies. Now, these strategies are not only helpful for you as an autistic person to hopefully avoid or avert these burnouts, but you know what? They're actually really helpful and really useful for parents or carers of autistic children or partners or friends or family members of autistic adults. So listen up. All right, well, first up, and we just spoke about this, you could start by stopping the shaming of the autistic person in your life for being a little bit more autistic than usual. Seriously, just how about we stop the shaming? Point one, and probably the most important point I will ever give you. There's a strategy for avoiding autistic burnout. How about we stop shaming autistic people for being autistic? You've heard me say it's like the brain shutting down during a period of autistic burnout. Well, let's try another analogy. Okay, so during a period of autistic burnout, an autistic person's brain reboots. Okay, so like a computer may crash and reboot, that's what is being experienced by an autistic person. When that is happening on your computer, you need to give it time. You can't use it, right? You can't continue to demand your computer does the things you want it to do while it is rebooting. There's nothing you can do, right? You have to sit there and wait for it to do its thing till it's back into a state where it can function. You may leave, you may stay, but either way, you're not demanding it to do anything. Interesting, because you treat your computer better than you treat an autistic person in your life if you are demanding anything from them during this period. Autistic burnout is the rebooting of an autistic brain. It takes time. It doesn't just click back on, right? And in addition to that, it requires things like you have to leave your computer and give it time to get ready to function again. You have to provide the autistic person in your life the time and space to reboot, to be ready to function again. So supporting and enabling an autistic person to, in essence, do nothing, be by themselves, or do the things that they need to do to reboot themselves, to recharge themselves, to bring themselves back, is actually a really powerful thing to do. It's an amazing strategy. And it's pretty simple, right? In addition to that, not forcing an autistic person into socializing, not forcing them into activities they might usually do, because forcing them into these situations to you might seem incidental, but for someone experiencing autistic burnout, it's not something that they're A, capable of doing, but B, can have a really detrimental effect. So it's super powerful to just let them be. For parents or carers of an autistic child, you may want to consider giving them a break from after-school activities and potentially even a break from school if required. Another point on the shaming, and this is really important. Shaming is a big thing, I think, but don't shame the autistic person in your life for simply wanting to be alone, for simply wanting to do nothing. Don't shame them, just let them do it. Just let them be. Look at it like this, because for me, I look at everything through the eyes of Superman. It's like Superman going to his fortress of solitude. Hey, if Superman has to go to the fortress of solitude, I can go to the fortress of solitude. Recharge and I'm back to fight another day. I have no idea what that means. But it's also important though, to encourage the autistic person in your life to do the things you know will help. And I mean self-care things. Fresh air, exercise, just getting outside for a bit, showering, bathing, whatever. These types of things that are positive for someone's mental health, they're important to encourage, not force, just encourage them. Again, more Superman stuff. Okay, promise, last one. You know when Superman has no energy left and he's got to fly out of the atmosphere and feel the sun, get close to the sun and absorb the sun's energy and feel that sun on his body, and then he's back again. This is what I'm talking about. Autistic people, encouraging them to get outside, feel the fresh air, feel the sun, like Superman, recharges them, gives them their strength back, and they're ready. I did it again. I don't know what that is. Like driving a truck. Another thing that can really work is simplifying tasks and responsibilities. Culling what does not need to be done. It sounds simple, but the impact is really significant. What might be really helpful for autistic kids is for parents and carers to potentially alter their diet during the period of autistic burnout. Now, what I mean, as an autistic person, I have certain foods that give me a negative sensory response. So if you can avoid the types of foods provide negative sensory responses to the autistic person in your life, that can actually help them too come out of their autistic burnout period. Again, with the shaming, please don't shame autistic people for stimming. Encourage stimming. It's probably going to be more intense, higher in frequency, but it's the stimming, again, that self-stimulation, that regulation, that's going to help the autistic person in your life. Please, just don't shame it. You don't have to enjoy it. You don't have to be around it, but don't shame it. I find even if I lack motivation and will to do my special interests, the things I love, I find that if I just try to start doing it, that it actually ends up really helping me. So I think if you can encourage the autistic person in your life and enable them to just go away and do their special interests, their passion projects, I think that's really beneficial as well. Now, for autistic people, I want you to really try and develop a deep understanding of your body, a deep understanding of your mind, of how it interacts with your body. Because there's no person on the planet better equipped to start to feel when you're getting into that ballpark of autistic burnout. Get to know your triggers, get to know your stresses, get to know when they occur, And by knowing how they make you feel and by feeling those feelings early on, hopefully you can turn it around. You can avoid autistic burnout. And the last thing I'll say for parents, carers, partners, family, friends with autistic people in their life, the key thing you can do is to understand and accept the autistic person in your life for who they are, and more importantly, to let them be themselves. Accept them for who they are unconditionally. And please don't shame them for being themselves. I would not wish autistic burnout on anyone. It's frankly bloody horrible. But hopefully identifying the signs and causes and providing some strategies to put in place, hopefully we can have better outcomes and avoid autistic burnout when it is possible. In the meantime, between now and the next video, why don't you go and check out some more of my videos? I know you want to. Push play. And please subscribe to my channel so you never miss another video. Until the next video, I'll catch you later.